Hello, I'm ABX and welcome back to the video. Today I'm here in my Let's Play world, which is my longest standing Minecraft console world, which I still use. It's over 4.5 years old now, it's gone through like 42 updates, and basically a lot of things have changed in this world that make it a little bit broken in various ways. And it always confuses people when I just say, oh yeah, my Minecraft console world, just a little bit broken. So I figured why not go into depth and explain exactly how and where my Minecraft console world is broken, so that if you are curious as to like how, worlds just kind of break over time, you can maybe understand with today's videos. Hopefully you all do enjoy it, or learn something from this. If you do like the video, like and let me know because it helps out the channel a lot and lets me know you do like this sort of thing. And yeah, this world was entirely survival, has been entirely survival, will be entirely survival, just in case you're curious about anything you see, because we're going to fly straight over to our first thing here, which is one of my more silly projects, but I do quite like it anyway, because it is my desert, which in case you're curious, I am destroying. So a lot of people get curious as to why I'm destroying the desert, but then they also get curious when I explain that, oh yeah, well, it's not a real desert anymore, so I'm removing it. So what do I mean when I say this desert is not a real desert? What I mean by that is before TU, I think it was like TU12, they finally fixed it. Basically, the seed would generate so the biomes weren't saved to the world save, they were saved to the seed, which meant that every time you went anywhere in your world, instead of, looking it up from your save, it would look up the biome from your seed, so it would do it on the fly. And this meant that when they changed the, way seeds generated, because they didn't really anticipate doing that, when they changed that, they actually changed all the biomes in your existing world, which meant that if you had a plains biome, it wouldn't necessarily be a plains anymore. Sometimes it would be, but not necessarily. If you had a desert biome, it's not necessarily a desert anymore, and as a result of this, my desert is now actually a forest underneath. And you might be like, no, Toy Cat, it's a desert. Look, it's made of sand, sandstone, etc. The blocks are the same blocks it would be if it was a desert, but it's actually a forest underneath. The way we can tell that is like 2 or 3 different ways. First of all, it's raining, even though we're in a desert. It's not meant to rain in deserts or savanna or any, hot biome like that. Second of all, if we look at like dead bushes, which I think there was one back there, if we look at sugarcane, you can see how even though, we're in a desert officially, that's a regular old sugarcane. There's a lot of things like this where, if we place leaves down, it'd be like that. Lots of different blocks are not in their desert form because this isn't a true desert. It just happens to be a bunch of deserty blocks. So I figured what I'd do is I'd remove all of the desert, and that is why I'm destroying my Minecraft console desert. So yeah, this is something you'll see in a lot of old worlds where just like biomes and the rules for those biomes don't match up. And it's a pretty wacky one, but fortunately they did fix it like 30 updates ago or something like that. It's just, again, once it happens to the Minecraft world, there was no way to undo it. Kind of like with the mob spawner thing they had recently. So yeah, that said, let's move on to the second way in which my Minecraft console world is broken. And this one was self-inflicted, I'll admit, because it was kind of a choice between 2 bad things. And I chose the one which allowed me to keep my wall, because yes, I did build a wall all around my Minecraft console world, and yeah, it did make the Let's Play world great again. And finally, the big question I want to know is, yes, the mobs did pay for it. But anyway, let's be a bit more serious about it. I had this giant wall around my Let's Play world because I was anticipating expanding from the 360 size world to the Xbox One world. So yeah, that's something that I did. It happened, etc. But then the interesting thing about it is they decide to let you overwrite those chunks if you wanted to have a more natural transition. However, if you did that, you lost the last 2 chunks on the outside of your world, which would have meant, destroying this entire wall, which again, spent so long, like making that whole thing happen. So I figured, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave the border there, which means that between this wall, between the edge of the, I guess it like, let's call it 400 blocks out in every direction, then what there is there's this like kind of mini ocean. It's like, sometimes 20 blocks, sometimes a bit more. There's this mini ocean where, as you can see, there's just this giant gap between the old world and the new world. And if we just keep following this along, it just exists in that form in some way. And it gets very bizarre at certain points. But yeah, my world border is, I don't know if you'd want to call it glitched or broken or what, but basically, they gave me 2 options. The options were to, because again, you can overwrite or you cannot. The options were to just, have the border there and, have a weird little thing like I have, or I could go and just remove it all together. But I didn't want to lose the wall because I'd spent so long working at that point. So I was like, sure, we'll keep the old, we'll keep the new Let's Play world stuff out and we'll keep the old stuff in. And I think it's actually a pretty cool, idea personally, because then I always know when I'm expanding from a 360 world to an Xbox One world. And it's pretty cool that I spend like 90% of my time in the 360 size part of it, despite that being, what a lot of people consider to be small. I just think it's one of those cool little things. So yeah, there is a giant border between the, I guess, the 400 blocks outside my world, and that is because, I had to pick between 1 or 2 things, and I picked the one which meant, slightly less hassle on rebuilding the wall, because no one wants to rebuild a wall, building a wall once is a lot of effort, making mobs pay for it once. Would they pay for it again? I'm not entirely certain. I'm going to stop doing that now, and let's move on to the third way in which my Minecraft console world is broken, because it is to do, I guess, this is one that you can have in any world, even today, because it is to do with the fact that, again, when you're generating new parts of your world, it's generating from the seed. They can't fix new parts of your world doing that. So this means that if you have a, let's say you made a world today and then a new biome came out tomorrow. If you explore that new part of your world, you might just find a new biome. Again, it has to be really far out, like well past your rendering distance. But this meant that because there was a corner of my world I just hadn't visited, sorry about those noises, because there was just a corner of my world that I just hadn't visited, what this meant is there was this big ocean I had, and then when I went further past the ocean, new biomes had come out, and it meant that the biome had switched from being what should have been ocean here into being a snow biome. So instead, what we have here is we have like a snow biome, which is generating like normally, like it would be next to. There is a lot of messages coming in. It's generating like it would normally, as you can see right here, just like that. And then, it's like just got a full-on chunk-sized snow biome here, which is super bizarre to look at. There's just this random chunk, like 10 blocks above everything else. And I actually do quite like the look of it, because again, it mostly just has this bizarre kind of feel to it. But if we go over here, you can see it in its biggest force, where it's just a random bunch of chunks connected to each other in ways that don't necessarily make too much sense. So yeah, what happened to my, why is this like this? It's not that I went through and sort it off, because although I think that would be a cool idea, it is just that I only explored the world up until this chunk right here. So when I explored the next one, it generated a snow chunk, and it made this very bizarre disconnect that you can barely climb over. I mean, you can just about do it here, but that's about that. And also, it's really an interesting little fact about this. I believe that even though this is a snow biome in terms of the blocks, it's got the same, kind of broken as the desert thing, where it's actually a jungle biome underneath. So you can see super bright green grass, and the snow's just happened to stay here since then. And I'm not sure what I'm going to do with this. I might chop it down and turn it into a true jungle. I might do something with it. I'm not entirely certain, so I've just kind of left it as my bizarre artifact of an old world, and I quite like it in that way. So let's fly. We're not going to make it over to the start of the Let's Play world. So this is where my cave house is, my giant gold farm, which you're seeing in front of me right now, my giant cobblestone cube. All of this stuff is right here, and this is one of the things people ask me about the most, because so many people ask about my video settings, like, oh, Toycat, why does your Minecraft look so much brighter than mine? And one of those reasons is because I put color correction on my capture card, so everything just looks a little bit nicer for YouTube, because most people turn the brightness up so high that you can just barely discern the colors. All the grass colors look like this one, is what I'm saying. And I know I'm not a big fan of that. I like the nice warm colors like this one. But this isn't just to do with my capture settings, because you'll notice it's extra so even when I'm in my Let's Play world, and it is because I had this giant swamp biome, or it was a swamp biome before, that I converted into a flat land, and then conveniently for me, this is a very lucky one, the land that was meant to be converted into a jungle. I mean, mostly there's still a little bit of swamp here for some reason, as you can see, but most of it converted into jungle, which means that now my giant plains is this giant jungle plains, and it just looks really, really nice underneath. I really do quite like it. It's got this just again, this is like how Minecraft grass should be. It's a lot more like I think it's the Minecraft beta grass or the alpha grass. It's just really, really good stuff, and yeah, this happened because I built a flatland, and then it just happened to convert into, into a jungle. There's no way to naturally make this happen. You can't move your own biomes around. However, if you are going to make a flatland, I totally recommend doing it in a jungle. Even if it's more effort, you get bright green grass, you get ocelots, and as a fun little matter of fact, the entire sugarcane farm is also a jungle, which means ocelots generate off there. I know, I just kind of like that as an interesting little fact. Jungles are probably the best biome to convert into a plains. Just in case you want to do my bizarre project of flattening an entire area, you can do that, but I would totally recommend you go to one of those first. So yeah, that is the fourth way in which my world is broken, I guess. That the biomes shifted around, and it meant that the colors are all kind of changed, and this happened in another place too, but in another positive way. There's a lot of ways in which my Minecraft world is broken for the worse, but there's also a lot of ways in which it's broken for the better, because more jungle over there, by the way. There's a lot of jungle in this world for some bizarre reason. But yeah, basically these extreme hills are extreme hills still, which is convenient. But if we fly over to what used to be a plains biome, it's behind a forest. It's a really cool thing. Actually, I think it was like a half forest, half plains. The entire thing converted into a desert. And if you don't know, if you place dirt blocks or grass blocks in a desert, what you actually get is not desert. You get like savanna. So yeah, my plains turned into a desert, which means that we have this like essentially savanna biome inside a world generated long before savanna existed, which is, as you can see, like it's bright kind of green stuff. I really do quite like that personally, because again, it means that we have this unique biome that you're not really meant to be able to get, because it's like oak trees too. Like, in fact, it's a swamp, as it turns out. Yeah, my swamp is a savanna biome now, which makes no sense to anyone, but it is one of those cool little ways the world changed. So let's move on to the final way in which my world is glitched for the better, and this is one I was so lucky for, because it's a glitch I discovered, like a solid 2 or 3 weeks before the update, but I didn't think it would affect my Let's Play world, because it only happens in the perfect conditions. Because, yeah, if you don't know, on a Minecraft console world, you're only ever meant to get one stronghold. That's the number of strongholds you get, because the worlds are a lot smaller, so, you know, it just makes sense that proportionally, you get one. Okay, I get that. On the PC, you used to be able to get 3, and now you get, I think it's hundreds of thousands of strongholds, because of how big the world is. So yeah, basically, you get either 1 stronghold, 3 strongholds, or hundreds of thousands. However, because of a cool little glitch, you know, a world in which, I guess, a broken part of my world, I've actually ended up with 2 strongholds, one of which doesn't have an end portal, and one of which does. So let me explain how this happened, because when I first generated this world, it was in TU5, strongholds existed, but end portals did not yet. There was no end, but the stronghold as a structure existed, which means if we go down here, and we have to look around, I get lost all the time when we do this, so forgive me if I get, you know, a little bit confused. But yeah, basically, this is my stronghold, this is my skeleton spawner, all that sort of cool stuff. But yeah, if we look around this place, as you can see, it is in fact a stronghold. It's got all the stronghold blocks that I wouldn't otherwise be able to have, and my metro actually goes straight through it, which is interesting. But yeah, as you can see, definitely a stronghold. I'll prove it with some silverfish blocks, because you can't place those. So let's find some. Assuming there is some, I mean. Oh, there we go. That's a silverfish block. We place it. Oh, would you know it's silverfish? So yeah, that proves that it is a stronghold, because you can't move those around, if I'm not mistaken. And therefore, yeah, it's a stronghold. It's not just me trying to mess with you. So I have one stronghold right here, but it was generated before. Okay, weird. It was generated before the, you know, the update to actually and end portals. So I've just got this entire stronghold that doesn't really do anything for me besides give me stone bricks, and I think no, there wasn't even a silverfish one. It's just brick, stone brick, silverfish brick, mossy brick, and a weird structure to find. And I thought it was really cool, and I eventually did find it. However, I was really bummed because I could never go to the end. I could never make an Enderman farm. I couldn't, you know, make the Elytra stuff. However, when that update came out, just before it, there was a glitch which sometimes allowed you to get 2 or even 3 or 4 strongholds in the same world, although those other ones are really unlikely. And that is because if you expanded your world after you had a stronghold in the existing size world, the world could think that it was meant to have the stronghold somewhere else and generate one there. And again, I just assumed it was never happening because I did a brief check with iOffenders and it led to the exact same place. However, it just so happens that I have 2 strongholds very, very close to each other. Again, relatively speaking, my world is what, like 5,000 by 5,000 blocks across, and I have 2 strongholds within about 400 blocks of each other. So it's usually a lot easier to fly there, but obviously we don't have too much height. So, you know, let's just jump off here and see where we can. Okay, that's not going to work. Yeah, it's usually a lot faster to fly there. That's usually how I get there. But yeah, just over these mountains, I have a second stronghold now. That stronghold has a full-on working end portal, and it will take you to the end and all that sort of cool stuff, which I really am quite a fan of. That's how, even though I have, you know, this super old world that I realistically shouldn't have, you know, this stuff on, I can have access to the Elytra. I can have access to this dragon head, which you might have noticed on the episode, which is probably why some people accuse the world of being creative, and I guess that's going to be that. But I guess that doesn't really bother me so much, but it's interesting, and that's the reason behind it. So I can have an Elytra, I can have a dragon head, and I'm just gonna, you know, like skip over to when I get there, because like walking along hills is not the most fun thing in the world. So let's go there now. Okay, so here we are at the second stronghold. I've got this giant thing in the sky so I can fly back if I want to. It's just a bit easier than, you know, walking all the way, because here it is at, like, again, it's only a few hundred blocks away, which is crazy that they're so close together, which is why I couldn't find it for the longest time. But there is, in fact, a second stronghold here, all natural, all generated, etc. And, yeah, as you can see, there's the little stronghold. I guess it's not a little stronghold. There's the big end portal, the regular-sized end portal, and it does, in fact, work, which means I have 2 strongholds on my Minecraft console world. Again, something that's not meant to be able to happen. Even on the PC, you're meant to have 3, so 2 strongholds in the world, very cool little glitch. And this is the reason that I'm able to have a broken stronghold and a working stronghold, but still have 2. It's weird stuff, but as you can see, it's a real one. The portal does work, and here I am inside the end, which has changed since the last update, it seems. Or maybe, has it? I think it has, yeah. I'm now generated right next to one of the pillars, it seems. So, boom, I guess they fixed a bug, maybe? Is that a bug? I'm not entirely sure. But yeah, that's something that is new for me, at least. So, yeah, I hope you did enjoy today's video. Like it if you did like it, because it helps out the channel a lot. Let's know that you do like these sorts of videos on the Let's Play world. I enjoy, you know, showing off various things that, you know, have been going on here. And I think it is kind of fun to, like, mix things up. Because I do most of my videos in the creative world, but this is the world that I play and spend a lot of my time in. So, yeah, hope for... Okay, it's just like I've been here before, because that's why that's there. But still, things are weird around here. I'm not sure what happened or what went wrong or what changed. But things have definitely changed, and now you all know. Anyway, I hope you all enjoyed this video, because I will see you all in... Wait, no, because okay, wait. I had, like, an island all the way out there. Where did that go? Okay, and we're about to fall off. I guess we'll never know. But yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video, because I'll see you all in the next one. Goodbye.